In many war films and dramas, when the trumpet sounded a charge, the soldiers fought with full courage. In war, sound plays an equally important role as guns and ammunition, more than boosting morale. More than 70 years ago, in Third Battle against the United States in Korea, the 79th Volunteer Army, 347th Regiment, 7th Company, and the British Royal 29th Brigade Rifle Transport Regiment fought a fierce battle in Bulgak. After that, there were only 7 soldiers left in 7th Army. Faced with another round fiercer attack, they fired their only blaster and a few grenades, and sounded the call to charge. The British thought the volunteers were about to launch another charge and retreated in fear. The clever use of sound in warfare often has a surprising effect. The history of war is full of various of sounds: shouting, killing, gunfire. The sounds stir the hearts and minds, affect the battle, and take lives. As early as in World War II, sound was found to be used to intimidate the enemy, and weapons were developed accordingly. In World War II, the German Stuka dive bombers, known as Screaming Grim Reaper, were the nightmare of many unarmed soldiers and they dived with a terrifying roar. During the Polish campaign, some Polish soldiers were sent to collapse for a Stuka siren. This frightening sound effect was intentionally designed by the German army. They installed a special device called a Jericho trumpet on the wing in front of the undercarriage or on the front edge of the main landing gear fairing. It was driven by a 0.7-meter diameter propeller. When the rotor rotated anti-speed under the propeller, it pushed the air around the stator to produce a resonance. That's how the aircraft screamed. Its name comes from the Bible. When the Jews attacked Jericho, a Jordanian city, they blew the horse together after marching around the city for 6 days, and God came in response to his promise, broke down the walls of the city. You may wonder if sound intimidation really works. Could it just be those who are intimidated or timid? In the movie Dune, the hero Paul has a magic power. As long as he gives commands to a person with a specific tone, that person will involuntarily follow these instructions, which is similar to hypnosis. In 1940s, American sociologist Roger Barker introduced the concept of behavior setting in ecological psychology. Once an individual enters a behavior setting, his behavior is clearly influenced by physical environment and the behavioral program. Researchers conducted noise experiments with young children and found that in noise-intensive environments, they not only became unsocial and uncommunicative, but also intimidated and beat up other children. This explains why some British soldiers in World War I suffered from panic, flight, and insanity for the intense artillery sound, and why more than 30% of the Israeli army suffered from dementia, flight, and incontinence under sound and shelling in the Middle East War. It's not that the soldiers are afraid of death and looking for an excuse to escape, but because the high intensity of noise disturbed their physical mechanisms. For the same reason, many veterans with PTSD are very sensitive to sounds similar to guns and artillery fire in everyday life of the battlefield. Germany was not the only country to intimidate its enemies through sound. In the Vietnam War, the US Army tried to do the same thing. They hired audio engineers and spent weeks making wandering soap recordings, which were played by helicopters in the jungle at late night. However, they have too shallow understanding of Eastern culture, and instead of frightening the Vietnamese communist guerrillas who were Marxists and adhered to Withyism, found these recordings ridiculous. Conversely, the North Vietnamese Army's sound offensive against American troops was highly effective.
How are you, G.I. Joe? It seems to me that most of you are poorly informed about the going of the war, to say nothing about a correct explanation of your presence over here.
They often broadcasted lists of American soldiers killed in action, read long family letters found from their corpse. As a result, many American soldiers lost mood to fight. Since sound has such a magical role in warfare, can it be used to give warriors more force? Absolutely yes. In 2011, Daily Mail reported that a soldier played guitar on the battlefield of Libya, ignoring gunfire around them, and his comrades were like being helped by God. He soon became popular on the internet, and many fans were added to his video. In fact, as early as more than 2,000 years ago, ancient Rome used background music in the war. During the Crusades, knights in heavy armor were defeated several times by the well-trained and disciplined Muslim army. It was through the sound of trombone or snare drum that they kept their troops in unison and dispassionately recalled them, which was very astonishing. Recognizing the importance of sound in warfare, in the absence of instant communication, European armies created a variety of march, approach, assault, retreat, and skirmish, and music gradually evolved into means to command soldiers on the battlefield. But it also gave the enemy an opportunity to take advantage of it. In 1708, the allied British, Dutch, Austrian armies fought against the French. And first, the French army won all the way to Flanders. At that point, the defeated Allied forces united to play French retreat. French soldiers conditionally reflects in military music, and 100,000 of them who were assaulting were disrupted in formation, and were assaulted in flanks by the Allied forces and eventually defeated. In modern warfare, the use of military music as a signal has been eliminated. However, mankind's pursuit of sound power has not ceased. The US LR-80 sounded weapons, for example, usually used in less intensive battles such as the Siege of Paris. They are composed of a sound directional emitter and console, able to flexibly adjust the angle towards the target within hundreds of meters to set a sound blast wave. This is because sonic weapons typically use semiconductors and transmitters, which can produce extremely narrow beam of sound like spotlight and can only be heard by specific recipients. This highly directional sound, even from hundreds of meters away, sounds like it's right around the corner. Sound is becoming more and more important in warfare, as it has switched its role all along from an inspirer to an intimidator to a real weapon. For me living era of peace, these are far away, but every day I'm dominated by another more terrifying weapon of sound. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoy it.